Hello there everybody, my name is Manda and today I'm doing a 2017 bookshelf overview tour. So it has been around 2 years I believe since I have done any sort of bookshelf tour or bookshelf overview, so I thought that it is time that I finally do one. I did a bit of a clean up of my bookshelves the other day and I was able to add another row of books to the very top of this shelf, and I thought what better time while my bookshelves are clean to finally do an overview. I'm not going to be doing a very thorough bookshelf tour. I have said this for quite a few years now, but I do plan on getting new shelves for this wall of my room, and I don't want to do a tour until I have those because as my room is at the moment it's just very difficult to do, so I want to wait until it's not going to be as difficult. What I'm going to do in this video is just give you a brief overview of all of my bookshelves. I'm also going to include some books that I don't keep in this room that I keep out in the living room, and I'm going to show you those as well. So those are books that I've read and some that we just use as kind of a decoration, I suppose. So I thought I would show you those as well. So you will see essentially all of my books, you'll see them shelf by shelf. I'm just not going to go through each and every book in this video. So let's jump in and I'll do an overview of my shelves. I'm going to start with the shelves that are not in this room and then we'll move back in here and begin with this shelf behind me. So this is the books that we keep in the living room that we kind of use as like decoration. So here's a quick zoom in of them all. So these are a mixture of books I've read and haven't read. Actually, I think on this shelf I've only read The Raven Boys and The Dream Thieves, and some of my driller gave to me. The rest are all unread books. So this is the other lot of books I keep in the living room. These are all of my read books. So this was everything that was on my favorite shelf. I'm just going to take away the front stack so you can see a little bit better what is behind. So as I said, these are all the books that used to be on my favorite shelf in my room. So here is a quick zoom in of everything that's there. These are again all books that I've read. So this is the full view of the shelves that I film in front of. The cat has figured out that he can now get on top of the clean desk where he is sitting. Used to be covered in books, and now he's figured out he can get up there and he thinks it's great. So those books right at the top there are a new addition. If you remember from my 2015 shelf overview tour, which I will link on the screen right now, that shelf up there used to be full of toys and other such things. So this is just a quick zoom in of what's next to where I film. There used to be piles and piles of books up here, which are now the books that you've seen on top of that shelf. And these two bottom parts here, it used to be where I used to keep my uni stuff, but that has found a new home now. So now I have more space for my books just there. So essentially all the books that you'll see on this shelf and the other shelf are actually unread. There are a few exceptions, so there are some books like these two books here are books that are waiting to be wrapped up. I've read the Game of Thrones book, which is that book there, and I've read the Harry Potter book, which is that book there. There are a few other exceptions which are behind other books because they're double stacked that I've read, but for the most part everything you see will be unread. So yeah, I obviously have quite a large amount of unread books and I need to get on that. I'm going to start with this shelf here and work our way across, and the two little cubby holes down below, and then we'll work our way across the big shelf there. So this is the shelf that you can see this tiny little corner of when I'm filming. As you can tell, it is double stacked. I'm not going to be removing the books that are double stacked, so you'll just have to wonder what's behind. But yeah, so we'll go in and we'll pan across the front shelf and then we'll go down to these two. So basically now what I plan on keeping on top here is, so like for instance these two books are books that I've read recently and need to wrap up. These books in a pile at the back are books that I've bought recently and need to haul. So hopefully that's all I will keep on top. So let's just pan across the front. So those are those books. I've tried to order them by height in this area. So as you can see, the books that are behind are higher, which works because I can sort of see them if I want to read any of those books. But for the most part, the books that are behind are books that are kind of on the bottom of my TBR pile. Apologies for how dark it is right at the back there. So this is the first of the cubes that are down below. So the books that are behind here are books that I've read. You can kind of see it contains my second copies of the Mortal Instruments series. I have read a few of those, although I have not read all. The other books that are behind are also books that are kind of low on my priorities. These books that are at the front here, as you can see, are just kind of a mishmash of things that I needed to find a home for. So this is the second cube. Again, there's really no rhyme or reason as to why these books were stacked there, other than this is where they fit. I do finally have a nice home for my 2 Harry Potter Illustrated editions, so hopefully I can just keep filling those up here. Really weirdly, there is room on this shelf. That's a weird occurrence for me. So firstly, apologies for the shaky camera. It's very awkward to film this very top shelf. So this is the very top shelf of the bookshelf that I film in front of. So I used to have like soft toys and such up here like I spoke about before, but now it is home to books. So I'll try and zoom in so you can see the books a bit better. I'll just kind of pan down the pile so you can have a look-see, so you can see my Sarah J Maas books, and then this pile. Again, there's no kind of rhyme or reason as to why these are there the way they are. This is just where they fit. So this is my mostly hardcover books. Again, it's a mix of adult, young adult, middle grade. They just kind of needed a home. So you can see those. That Roald Dahl book is longer than the average book, so thankfully it worked out well there. So going around the corner, again, no really kind of reason as to why they're stacked there other than they were the right height. I tried to make the piles similar heights so they would work well. And this is the very top of the other ones. This is above my mass market paperbacks. And yes, I do have 2 copies of And I Darken. One that I bought for myself and one that was sent to me by Penguin. So that's why I have 2 of those. I plan on making one a gift. So this is, I guess, now the second shelf of where I film. This hasn't changed too much, I don't believe, from my 2015 tour. There may be some more Funkos. That Game of Thrones book is new, but I'm going to take that down for the purpose of this, so you can see what's behind. So I do apologise for the weird lighting. So those are all my Game of Thrones books there, so I'm not going to move the Funkos. You get the idea that that's the stack of Game of Thrones books. So, and then we pan across the shelf. Again, I stand by that I did not place Cersei and Jaime Lannister, the Funkos, like that. I just turned around one day and that's how it happened. And it's funny, so that's how they're going to stay. So then we go around the corner. And no, I do not think Joffrey should have the throne. He just sits there. These books were originally organised, like I tried to put like classics type books here, but then as you can see, Seraphina's on top up there, so it doesn't really work anymore. And like I tried to put like historical fiction together, but that doesn't really work anymore either. So this is the third shelf down. I don't think this changed too much since my 2015, other than trying to fit some extra books in. So we'll do a really pan around. I'm going to do this book thing last, so we'll come back to that. Yeah, I'm not going to move the Pop Funkos, so sorry. The books that are behind them are kind of books that are kind of low on my TBR anyway, but that's okay. And I'm also not going to be moving Supernatural Shrine in the corner. You can just have a really close-up look of it. This is the close-up of those. I have quite a few Pop Funkos on this shelf, and I really do want to be able to move them because I think it looks a bit excessive, but I don't have the storage space for books, let alone the storage space for Pop Funkos either. So this is the desk part that sits right behind me, so you can sometimes see these books here. If you remember, only a couple of videos ago, there were piles and piles of books on this. So being able to put the books on the very top shelf has meant I don't have the piles anymore, so that's nice. Again, we'll just do a pan around. I've tried to keep series together. I know I never used to, and it bugged me as well, guys, don't worry. So I'm trying to keep series and like authors together. It doesn't always work out. Hopefully when I get new shelves I can actually organize them the way I like, which would be by genre and then by author. So hopefully that will happen one day soon. So this is the top of the little shelves. Again, I don't think this has changed, so I'm I'm not going to zoom in or take out the double stacks or anything, but this is just where I keep all of my mass market paperbacks. They just all fit here, and that's where they are. And then we move down to this shelf here. So this, again, don't think it's changed except for the addition of Phantom of the Opera just there. This is all of my contemporary books, except for Phantom of the Opera, which I suppose could be classed as like a gothic contemporary, I guess. Not really, that's a stretch, but whatever. So those haven't changed since last time. I don't think I've touched any of these books in years. So I really need to change that, because I bought them because I want to read them, and I still do, so hopefully I can do that soon. And this is what you see sitting next to me when I film. I'm just going to move these front two books, but that is the 20th edition of the Harry Potter, the Slytherin edition, and the limited edition of Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare. Again, this area is double stacked. I might actually move this stack though, because it's going to be fairly simple to move. Again, these are books that I really want to read and hopefully can get to soon. So this is what was just behind that stack. There's the books that are back here are pretty much books that I still want to read but are still fairly low on my TBR, or they're books that I've attempted to read and put down and still want to try again, but I'm just giving it some time. So again, low on my TBR. So this is a bookshelf that is actually next to my bed. There have been a few changes on here, again, if you can remember. I'm going to pan down a bit. Obviously I can't go all the way down because my bedside table is obscuring the way. Again, for the most part, everything you see on this shelf will be unread. The exception on this shelf is the very bottom shelf, which you can't see right now, but otherwise everything else on here is unread books. So we'll start from the top and work our way down. So this is the very top of the shelf that used to be next to my bed. If you remember, these used to be like where I kept my favourites. So now this is just, I guess, my bigger books. They are still a mix of young adult and adult. Here is a quick close-up view of those. Those are the Vampire Diary books that I haven't read the rest of yet. So this is the next shelf down. As you can see, my Harry Potter Funkos are here. I'm going to move that Cataclysms book and the panda so you can kind of see behind. So again, I don't think these have changed at all, honestly. These were just the books that fit, I believe. These are mostly young adult books though. So here's again a quick kind of close-up. And a close-up of Darth Vader. So I apologise for how weird the angle's getting, but this bookshelf is really hard to film because of my bedside table. But this is the third shelf down, so let's zoom in a bit. Just where most of my Brandon Sanderson books are, the ones that I haven't read. They were in order, so I'm not really certain where that Final Empire book has moved. Again, these were just the books that fit at the time, and there's Cogsworth and Mrs. Potts. So again, I apologise for the darkness and the angle. Honestly, from this point forward, there's nothing I can do, and I don't even know how I'm going to show you the bottom shelves, so we'll see. Obviously I have my mug full of bookmarks and some other random stuff at the front here. So let's move the mug and the Amanda Hocking stuff. So these were kind of my large adult fantasy books, and then the mishmash of young adult Stephen King books, and then larger adult and YA books. Again, no reason except this is where they fit. So I'm now at the point of not being able to show you in depth, so I'm not going to zoom in or anything like that. So this shelf here was my young adult hardcovers, and has now become young adult hardcovers and paperbacks and whatever else fit there. It's a mismatch of a whole bunch of stuff. All of those are still unread books. That entire bottom shelf and that pile of books there are all books that I've read and don't have another home. This is why I need a new bookshelf, guys, because this is insane and it's really not manageable. So hopefully I can find these a home one day soon, because this is ridiculous. But at least you get to see some read books as well. Although you did see some at the start of this video. So this is the only other place in my room that I keep books. This is directly next to my bed. These are the books that I'm currently reading or want to read next. So, you know, the one on top is what I'm currently reading, the press release, and then the two underneath that I hope to read next. That was it. Thank you so much for watching my bookshelf overview. Hopefully this year I can finally achieve my dream of being able to buy new shelves for my room and can have some nice new shelves right along this wall. I really want to do that, and I've been planning on doing that and hoping to do that for years. So hopefully this year's the year, and then I can do a very thorough and complete bookshelf tour. But until then, that was the quick overview. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know in the comments down below if you've seen any books on my shelves that you think that I should pick up and read right now. But yeah, that was it. Thank you so much for watching. Please rate, comment and subscribe if you like my videos, and I'll talk to you all again in my next one. Goodbye!